understands our suffering. He suffered in all ways like we did, but he stayed sinless. And that brings us to the second key truth. And the second key truth is that our sin brought suffering. But God uses that suffering for the good of his people. Now, sometimes that's hard for us to understand, but it's true. It's true. When something bad happens, we have a tendency as humans to blame God. God, why did you allow this to happen? God, why is this taking place? Why am I? Why me? Why? We need to understand, first of all suffering was brought into this world because of sin. Adam and Eve disobeyed God in the Garden of Eden, and because of that, sin entered the world, and this world was cursed by sin. We continue to choose that path ourselves often because we make decisions on a daily basis that we make the wrong decision. And we go the wrong path. And we bring problems on ourselves by doing so. Sometimes I think we're asking the wrong questions. Sometimes I think we need to be asking, instead of why am I suffering? Because of our own hard-headedness and sin and other things. Instead, we ought to be saying, well, why is God blessing me the way he does? You see, suffering's our fault. It's not God's. When God created the world and us, human beings, he looked and he said, it is very good. Not just good, very good. And when mankind chose to go their own way, sin came into the world. We brought suffering into the world, and things haven't been right since. But God, in his wisdom, and God, in his mercy and grace, uses the suffering that we go through for the good of his people. The ugliest day the world has ever seen was the day that Jesus was crucified on the cross. But what do we call that day? We call it Good Friday. Good Friday, because it was there that he paid the price for our sins. Joseph's experience put him in prison, falsely accused him, put him in prison. He was forgotten, but God used those experiences to train him and get him the place where he could become the prime minister of Egypt. Paul said to glory or rejoice when going through tribulation and suffering, because God uses that for his good. Uses it for the good. He put it this way.